colorful map behind you. We'll get to that in a second. Let's go back to last week.
All right.
This looks like this could be a very wet period in California, including Southern California late next week.
You and I have been talking about this all week long, and there's been some debate on the computer forecasts as to when this was going to come in. I think there'll be a piece that comes in mid to late week, but I think the whole enchilada is probably late in the week and the start of the weekend, and it means rain for most of California, and you're going to get some snow in the Sierra.
Right on cue. And, you know, Joe, we were able to, you guys were, you and the long range team were able to diagnose that, because you look at a lot of things. And one of the things that you always stress to me is the water temperature anomalies in the Pacific. Explain.
Our team lead, Paul Paslock, is really big on this, is setting up for patterns. And if you look at this, look at the contrast in the north central Pacific to the north and west of Hawaii, how warm, how anomalously warm the water temperatures are across the north central Pacific. But in the northeast Pacific, they've cooled off dramatically. And that sets up a contract. You tend to see some ridging over the top of this, and then all of a sudden you get this dip in the jet stream. And that's what we're seeing right now. This upper level low has been transferring southward. It's been waiting to come inland and unload its moisture. It's picking that up from the tropics, and it's going to let loose over the next couple of days.
All right, Joe, let's get into next week. Based on the pattern, what are you all seeing?
All right, part of that system in California, I think, is going to be a threat for some midweek heavy rain in the Mississippi Valley, more weighted toward later Wednesday into Thursday, maybe lingering into Friday. It's going to be cold in the northeast for most of the week. It starts to ease back later in the week, and the warmth will spread really from Texas to Georgia as the week progresses. Let's take a look at the big picture. There's that dip of the jet stream here in the nation's midsection at midweek, and that's going to produce all of this wet weather that you're going to see in here, really from parts of Texas and the Mississippi Valley up towards Chicago and even into parts of the Great Lakes. Here's the second one in the west, which means you've got more rain coming down into Southern California, some showers and some mountain snow in the north and west. It'll be mainly dry here. If you've got some vacation plans in Florida ahead of Thanksgiving, that's the place to go. It may not be the place to go from St. Louis down toward Dallas and Shreveport. Again, as that system comes out of the south and west, it's going to pull up a lot of moisture from the Gulf, and that's going to lead to rounds of rain, a risk of severe weather, flooding downpours, and the threat for some flash flooding.
We're not far away from Thanksgiving week, Joe, and we started looking at this last week, and we haven't really changed the initial forecast much.
No, we haven't. I think there's going to be ridging over the Caribbean and the southwest Atlantic, and that's going to force us storm tracks with the southwest across the nation's heartland and into the north and east. Be on the lookout for some snow on the northwest side of that, because I think there'll be enough cold air in play. But this is going to cause some travel problems across, maybe places like Los Angeles, perhaps Denver, Kansas City, Chicago, even into parts of the northeast.
And Joe, we were just talking about this. There is a real possibility if we have the storms next week and then for Thanksgiving, that we could be looking at record November rainfall in Los Angeles.
Yeah, some of the computer forecasts say that there's like 3 more storms to come through by month's end. Not sure that'll happen, but this is the pattern that we're looking at. As we wrap up the month of November and go into December, I want to leave you one thing for the long range, and that's this. The cold is going to expand from the Rockies to the northeast, and there's probably going to be some snow accompanying that. So stay tuned. It's going to look a lot like winter as we go into December.